Welcome to our webinar about our newest product, communications. We officially launched our communications product a few weeks ago at the WEX Spark user conference, and we're so excited to show it to you today. I'm Amanda Mitas, and I am the Senior Director of Marketing and Product Experience here at TPA Stream, and I'm joined today by Eric Sukalak, who is our Chief Product Officer here at TPA Stream. Eric, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely glad to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. So let me go ahead and share our screen and get started. So if you're familiar with TPA Stream, we have a lot of current capabilities that are kind of around connecting disparate and legacy systems, transforming that data, and helping our TPA clients use that data in meaningful ways to unlock revenue. And we've done this in the case of our claims harvesting product, which you can see on this screen, our consolidated invoicing product, and we're bringing the same unique approach to our communications product. We're all on this call today because we're having challenges around communications to our clients. The ongoing challenge for TPAs is relevancy and ease, but we all know that this is super important. So, for example, just some stats around communications for you all. $42 is earned for every $1 spent on email marketing across all segment verticals. And then 99% of email users check their inbox daily. I know in my case, I check multiple inboxes daily. And a lot of times, that email is not highly relevant or targeted to me. So that is an important piece of this. And then 85% of employees are confused about their benefits. And we know that a lot of times this stems from employers not fully understanding their plans and how they can be used. One of the things that we talked a little bit about in the positioning for this webinar was around the renewal process. And we'll kind of dive into that today. But even after talking to a lot of our clients and prospects about communications over the last couple of weeks, we have identified additional opportunities for using this platform in really meaningful ways to drive value for our clients. Today, there are basically three approaches that TPAs take to communications that we've heard. One is that they download all of the data from their Ben admin systems and scrub it in Excel, they segment it, they pull people out, they manipulate it, and then they upload it into an email platform like Constant Contact or MailChimp. To send out emails. And there's a few problems with this, as you can imagine. One of which is that it's super time consuming, right? But secondly, the instant that you download that file, it's already outdated. It's already inaccurate. And it's really important when you're communicating about benefits and communicating about the value that you're able to offer as a TPA and communicating about those renewals, that information is as accurate as possible. Secondly, another approach that TPAs take is they use the platform tools available, either in their Ben admin system or what have you. And the problem with this is that their segmentation, from our experience, is really limited, and their email builders are really antiquated. Eric, I don't know if you could speak to a little bit what you, sort of your experience with and learning a little bit more about the platform tools that are available on the market.
Sure thing. I mean, yes, like you said, the antiquated email builders is one of the big things where you almost need to be an expert in HTML to try to get it to look like something that you would want your clients to see.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you're starting off with a limited segment of your population for communications, because as we know, most TPAs or most people in the benefit space use multiple platforms to offer different kinds of benefits. So, starting out in any one of the particular segment tools, you're already limiting your audience.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think, your point about being able to customize the emails and make them look the way that you want them to is really important in this day and age, particularly when we think about phishing attempts and scams and things like that. It's really important for your emails to not only be credible, but also look credible. When you're talking about employee benefits. So that ability to customize your emails is more important than ever. And then the third approach that we've heard from our existing clients and also from the market is that they maintain another list in a third system, like Salesforce or something like that. And the problem with this is that those platforms are not integrated with your Ben admin system, and they're not touching that source data. And they're also super expensive. So you're adding the risk of maintaining this data in multiple places. You're adding the expense of having someone to maintain these multiple systems. And often, like in the case of Salesforce, they require a developer or someone with that expertise to be able to actually maintain and use these systems to their full ability. So, given that long-winded background, we were recognizing a need in the market for something that was customized specifically to the needs of TPAs, and we really saw that around these two areas that we've kind of been focusing on. One is that powerful segmentation using your Ben admin data. And then two is that super easy editor, because we know that not everybody has a marketing team, not everybody is an email developer, and that's a skill into and of itself. So combining these two pieces together, we're able to offer a platform that is not only very powerful, but also really easy to use. So let me just spend a minute setting up how this all works so you have some context when we jump into the platform. And Eric, feel free to hop in here, but I'm just going to start at the left-hand side. So we're able to take the data that is not only in TPA stream, like in the case of the easy enrollment data when we're talking about claims harvesting, and invoicing when we're talking about our consolidated invoicing product, but we're able to connect that to the systems that are already integrated with TPA stream. So your benefit administration data, your accounting data one day, all of that can go into building segments. And these segments, what's cool about it is that these dynamically update. So if someone's, and this might not be the best example, but if someone like rolls off having the HRA plan, they're no longer in the HRA segment. You don't have to go in and actually manually take them out of that segment or anything like that. All of your ongoing campaigns are able to be run without your intervention. So the segment builder piece is really cool. And then on top of that, you're able to pair that, like I said before, with your email editor and then easily send these out and template them so you can use them month over month as you're going through your typical processes, like, for example, renewals. All right, let's get into the demo. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Eric, did you have anything to add to the process as I kind of get through this?
I think what I'd say is there really isn't a limit on what kind of Ben admin data that we can consume to make available as part of the segmentation piece. So that's one of the really exciting things. We have a lot already, especially for those customers of ours that are using our invoicing product, where we're already pulling in things like account balances and enrollments and run out periods and all those things. But if there's something else that you'd want to drive your communications off of, that data is available, and we'd be excited about providing that to you for this dynamic segmentation.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Thank you. Good segue. Good time filler while I get my screen pulled up. We all know what that's about. But thank you. That was a really valuable addition. Okay, cool. So I have the app pulled up, and you can see that this is another module of communications. And if you're new to TPA Stream, we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about what these other aspects of the product are on this screen. We'd love to talk to you about all of our products, including consolidated invoicing and claims harvesting. But for our existing customers and those that we've had demos with before, you can see that this is an additional module on your TPA Stream application. So to start communication, all you have to do is go into the communications tab and create a campaign. And that's going to send you into the segment setup. So let's go ahead and set up a new segment. Let's go ahead and take a look here. So let's just call this, for the sake of argument, let's call this HRA renewals. And then let's just call this like demo for webinar, because that's what we're doing. That'll allow me to find it later. And then here's where we talked about the segmentation. So not only are we able to add in a ton of different variables here, but we're also able to add in logic. So you're able to exclude and include folks depending on how you set this up. So in this very simple example, I'm going to go ahead and select category group. And here I'm going to go ahead and select those that have an HRA. So I'll go ahead and click save.
And real quick, let me just interject
Please,
here.
please.
So for us category groups, uh, for our billing, our friends using billing, they'll recognize this, but it's a way for us to have a grouping defined that contains one or more different account types or plan types.
Hmm.
So depending on the different platforms that you may exist, you could define an HRA group, for example, as having account types of, HRA, but also HR1, HR2, all of those different ones. So this is a really great way to umbrella, say, all of these count as an HRA.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Thank you. Because the magic is in kind of that setup for the category groups. So that's a really good important piece. Okay, great. So we already have this set up. Here you can preview your segment. It's not going to render anything in here for us, and I'll show you another one that does, simply because this is a demo account. Regardless, I'll go ahead and click save. I'll show you how this renders, if we do preview it. Here you can see a couple employers that are in our claims harvesting customer segment. Later on, when we send the campaign, I'll include these guys in our overall send efforts, simply because we were able to see the email at the very end of all of it. So you'll be able to look for that. So now that we have the segment set up for our HRA, let's go ahead and set up a template to be able to send them an email. So what's super cool, not only about the template piece and how easy it is to edit all of these, is also what we're building is called a template library. So in here, you can see that there's a lot of examples, pretty much starting with the HRA renewal notice and moving our way down, of templated examples that we're able to populate for you. So you're able to pull these into a campaign quickly and send out to your employers very, very quickly. So a good example of this is legislative updates. We're working with a legislative expert to be able to populate these legislative updates for you, so you're able to quickly send those out to your employers for their information, and also as a nice value add. Invoice dunning is another message template series that we're setting up. This one is pretty cool because we're able to send email communications to employers if they have an open balance with you for, say, 60 days. This is something that you can set up to prompt payment if you use our consolidated invoicing tool, which is also pretty cool. And then another one that I'll highlight is non-discrimination testing. So this is a template that you can use and certainly customize to your needs, but allows you to easily send out to employers so they can complete any required or recommended documentation about non-discrimination testing. You can send them to a link or a document in terms of having them complete that information for you. So just wanted to highlight not only the template, which we'll go ahead and build, but the ability to leverage our strength in numbers in some ways and the value add that we're offering to you in terms of setting these templates up. So let's go ahead and pick the template for us. Let me see. I believe it's this one. Bear with me. I'm sorry, that's not the one that I was looking for. This is what happens when I have 3 examples in here. Okay, bear with me. Found it. Okay, so this is an example of the template that I've already built out. And again, these you can save and they'll pull from your library if you're doing similar processes month over month or year after year. So here you can see this is a content block where you can add in your logo. You can easily customize any of the colors or look or feel of your email. And then one of the things that I wanted to highlight in the editor is the merge tag field. So here we have a merge tag for a name, and I'll go ahead and I'll show you how to add another one for sake of argument. So here we can say your employer name, and what's cool about the merge tags is we have in this demo account, we have the contact name and the employer name. But like Eric was saying, when we connect to your benefits administration platform, we're able to pull virtually any data like that you want to put in the email in the form of a merge tag. So if you're thinking about, for example, fees, you can add those as a merge tag in your email. So then that way, when you send it out, you're able to display the fee that's tied to that record. Eric, am I explaining that properly? Can you add a little bit more context around the power around those merge tags for us?
Sure. I mean, we can have any level of dynamic content be populated in here for you. So it could be a renewal date. It could be anything about plan design. And I do want to step back for a second. As we talk about integrating with the benefits administration platforms and all the data that we can pull, one of the pieces that I think we can't highlight enough is that we're able to pull in all these employer contacts from those systems. So where you already have HR contacts, broker contacts, billing contacts that exist in other systems, we're fully integrated, so those will come into TPA Stream as those appropriate contact types. So there's a lot of opportunity here for us to get these emails to be really customized and with relevant data that already exists somewhere else. So you're not having to create that content dynamically. I think as we go a little bit later in the presentation, we can talk about some of the fee structures and those sorts of things associated maybe with renewals. But yeah, the merge tags are really powerful as it relates to the TPA Stream platform.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. Appreciate that.
Mhm.
And then there's other aspects that you can add here. Like, for example, you can add in very simply, you can edit the number of columns, you can add in images, you can add in heading text, you can add in HTML. If you've worked with an external partner before that has an HTML email already built, you can drag that directly into this editor and have it render exactly as the way that you intended it to render. So this is the example of the email. So go ahead and save this. Okay, so the email saved. And then once we have the segment and the template, we're going to marry those two together with a campaign. So I'll go ahead and set up a new campaign, and you just click campaigns. And then for this example, I'll do HRA webinar demo. And then I'll pick our template. And then I'll write a subject line. And when we talk about our message templates, we'll have this all built out for you with those templates, which is pretty cool. And then we'll go ahead and select our segments. Like I mentioned before, I'm going to go ahead and pull those claims harvesting customers because that's how I send the email to myself. And then I'll go ahead and pick the segments that we had set up before. So this is it. And then I'm going to go ahead and send. So your email is sending right now. While it makes its way through the interwebs to my inbox, I'll go ahead and show you the campaign history. Here you can view all of the campaigns that were sent with the type of segments that it was sent to, which email template you used, and the subject line, which is pretty cool. We are building additional analytics around the campaign history, pretty much as we speak, in terms of offering additional data around the campaign history. So this is accessible for other folks on your team, so you can kind of see what emails have been sent. So I did hear the ping of my inbox, so let's hope that it made its way to me. And I'll go ahead and share this tab so you guys can see. Let me just more some. Okay, let's go ahead and share this tab. All right. And you can go ahead and see that this is rendering exactly like we saw it in the email editor, which is pretty cool. So that's the long and short of the demo of communications, but let's go ahead and hop back into the slides and talk a little bit more about the template library. Before we do, why don't we go ahead and see if we have any questions. Eric, are you able to see the question box, or should I go ahead and read these out?
I don't see a question box.
Let me go ahead and read the questions to you. Can this functionality be used to send target communications to some or all of our members within multiple employers using criteria such as payer name, login problem, exclude, disabled credentials, etc.? And I think this is specifically speaking about our claims harvesting product.
Yeah. So on the last slide, we'll get to it a little bit. Member communications is an item on our kind of immediate roadmap,
Mhm.
and those sorts of segments are part of that.
Yeah.
So, we have some features going in realistically in the next week or so to send employer level communications based on, if they have a member enrolled in a particular payer, for example. So yes, that will be part of the member communication rollout. Is all of the easy enrollment variables that could go into that with login problem and that sort of thing.
Yeah. And importantly, on that member edition, it's not just limited to easy enrollment. That's where we're able to send member and participant communications regardless of if they use easy enrollment or not.
And I think that's a great point as we talk about future segments and template library pieces. Again, we're able to pull that member data directly out of the Ben admin system. So we could build segments based on all sorts of things like reimbursement type within a plan, for example, to where, if you want to drive down your check volumes and try to, encourage direct deposit, we can build a campaign for that right out of the box.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I love that example. All right, one more question. Can campaigns be automated to run, for example, 2 months prior to open enrollment for renewals?
Yeah, so great. That's a great question. I think another piece for us is, building out kind of workflows, which are campaigns that are a little bit more dynamic in how they're scheduled. So we would love to work with any partner that wants to help us best understand the right ways to implement that to fit your needs. But yes, that is a roadmap item for us in the near term.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, so let's take a minute and talk about the template library. So again, just kind of bouncing back to our first wave of rolling out communications is focused on the employer. So our template library includes all of that renewal information. So we're able to send the HR contacts and the brokers renewal emails to include the plan information and details from any system that's integrated. And that we could support any plan type. So COBRA, CDH, medical, anything of that nature, specifically around those renewal fees, which is pretty cool. The second is non-discrimination testing. I talked a little bit about this before, but an easy win and kind of something that you can easily automate is to send that HR contact an email with a link to complete that information and to kind of check that off the box. And for our self-funded TPA friends, RxDC reporting. This is another compliance requirement specifically for self-funded plans, and you're able to send a link to complete those compliance requirements very easily and out of the box. Invoice dunning. Eric, I'm going to ask you to kind of dive a little bit into this because this is super cool. But you're able to send those billing contacts any automated emails with a pay link so folks can actually render payment for that invoice. One of the potential examples that we talked about is like setting that for 60 days after the invoice is overdue.
Yeah, so we can look at days past due date where the balance remains greater than zero. If we wanted to specifically target high balance customers, we can look at their overall balance from the accounting platform and not just any particular invoice, as well as if you want to target communications where it seems like the billing contact has never opened one of our invoices that was sent out, we can build segments based off of those open rates too.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Another one that I talked a little bit about before is legislative updates. So sending those HR contacts an email with any legislative updates from our legislative experts. This is something that we're offering to communications product users as a nice, easy way to keep everybody informed as to those legislative updates, specifically around CDH and COBRA. And then HSA and FSA. So we're able to send employer updates on those spend levels and provide resources for participant engagement. On our product roadmap, again, as we mentioned, is those member communications where we're able to dive in and send those members an update on their spend year to date. and provide resources for them to, potentially learn a little bit more about their HSA, spend down their FSA, etc., and make it really relevant for them. You can build out infinite segments based on the type of user they are for those plans. All of that's pretty cool. Eric, did you have anything to add to this?
No, I think that's it on the templates.
All right, sounds good. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's talk about feature timeline because we're getting a lot of questions around things that and ideas for how participants on this call can use communications in their day to day and think differently about how they approach this. But that in mind, we just launched this at the WEX conference a couple weeks ago, and we're going to be talking more about it at the Allegis conference next week. So there's a lot of features that are on the timeline that we're really excited to roll out very, very quickly after that initial MVP has hit the market. So Eric, can you talk a little bit about what we have planned and what is variable based on what people want?
Sure thing. Yeah. So right now, we're looking at additional employer segmentation. So these are different conditions that can be included as part of that segment builder. So looking at account end dates to try to determine, when a renewal is going to happen. Like I just mentioned, the invoice balance and the overdue timing, right? So balance over $200 past 30 days, for example. If an employer is missing an EIN, as a simple example, employer payer. So for those claims harvesting customers, these are employers that have a where they're specifically set up to use a particular payer and not just kind of wide open. Or if the employer has members enrolled in a particular payer. And then beyond that, if an employer has a vendor key. So, at TPA Stream, we work with all of these other vendors and integrate with their systems. So you may want to say, all right, give me all of my Allegis employers or all of my QuickBooks contact employers, for example. And then in June, we're going to be looking at team-based segment conditions. So for those that are familiar with the TPA Stream platform, teams are a more manual way to segment out your customer base, where if you had a account management team and where each account manager had their own grouping of clients, that's a great way to say, I have all of these employers on my team. And that would let me say, all right, I want to send something out to Eric's team where there's a renewal in July. And then communications dashboard. We are rolling out over the next couple months some really great new user interface, user experience components around TPA Stream across the entire product that I'm sure you'll be hearing more from us about as we get closer to deploying that. But there is an enhanced dashboard that'll be coming out in June. And then the variable pieces, these are items we've identified. We've said, hey, we're going to want to build those, but we're going to see where our customers take us. So one of the first things, custom domain email configuration. This is a really powerful one. This means that your emails that you send through TPA Stream can come from your domain. So, we often use Sunny Benefits as our pretend, TPA name here. So you could have it, come from info at some particular, whatever your email domain is. So we have the capabilities to tie in with your technical team and be able to send emails from your domain. Now, something interesting to note there is if you do opt into that as part of the communications module and you're already using our invoicing module, your invoices then can come from your custom domain as well, which, is a really powerful thing.
Mhm.
And then, attachments, if you want to, if you already have something in a PDF format, for example, and you want to just attach it with an email blast, we'll support that. Member and participant communications. we're excited about this, and we have the tooling built on the back end. But like I said earlier, we really want to roll it out the right way. So we're excited to work with some of our partners and figure out really the best ways to be reaching out to members in that way. And
Mhm.
then one of the really exciting things, renewal custom tool. So where we had all of those drag and drop items in the email editor, one of the things we're excited about working with our partners on is having just a block that you can drag in and customize renewal information for. So again, looking specifically at folks using TPA Stream as an invoicing platform, we already have the full set of past and future rates for all of the services that you're going to offer. So being able to say, hey, we've got a July 1st renewal, and have a table populated immediately automatically that says, dear employer name, it's time for renewal. Here are your previous rates. Here are your upcoming rates. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Otherwise, maybe reply to this email, to let us know that you accept the rate. So using a data-driven approach there where there's not double entry, we're not going to a third system to try to see what their rates should be.
Mhm.
You're going right into the system that you already are invoicing out of, is, we think, going to be a huge time saver and just a way to avoid more human error in that.
Mhm. That's great. So, we've covered a lot, and I really appreciate everybody's questions so far. I know we're pretty much at time, so I did want to be conscious of that for folks that are attending. But if folks want to hang on and ask any additional questions, we can go ahead and get those answered at this point. So I just wanted to invite everybody to submit questions if you have them. What if, Eric, what if someone's interested in learning more about communications? How do we get them set up to learn a little bit more about this?
Well, I'd be happy to schedule time with anyone to just set up a quick meeting, especially if they have specific examples of, hey, here's a communication my team likes to send out. Get that over to us. Reach out. Amanda, I don't know what email is going to be best, but
Probably
uh,
sales at TPA Stream, or
perfect.
Eric at TPA Stream. It's probably sales, and we'll go ahead and get you routed to the right person,
Yeah.
and we can kind of handle it from there. That's always a good place to start to make sure that you get your questions answered.
Mhm.
I think we have time for one question. I'm wondering, Eric, did you see the question that I sent over? Do we want to maybe schedule time to answer this question, or should we address now?
I think let's schedule time. This looks like a pretty specific thing.
Yeah. So, like you said, in the case of like very specific things, like I think we can get that separate call scheduled to answer, kind of, because there's a variety of ways that people handle this today, and a lot of times those systems are a little bit cobbled together, and we really like to take a look at the systems holistically and think about, okay, where is the source data coming from? How can we integrate with the source data to make sure that everything is working properly? So, really excited to dive in there.
And just one more note, like you alluded to, taking the holistic view, um, an implementation of communications isn't just we turn it on and good luck, right? It's coming up with a plan on, hey, what's the best way for us to bring in all the email contacts? What's the best way to help you build your segments? And maybe that includes some new functionality here or there, but it is an implementation, and we have a great team here at TPA Stream to help make sure that this is going to be successful.
Yeah.
And I know I'm excited to continue working with partners on building this out as we go forward, to make this a really powerful tool for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely an opportunity to kind of get your feet in there and figure out what you need as a client, to really make it tweaked as much as we can for your needs. So, well, great. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thanks, Eric, for your time. I know it's always exciting to talk about what your team and you build, and I certainly enjoy it. So, really appreciate everybody's time, and we look forward to connecting after the webinar. Thanks again, everyone.
Thanks.